Nature can be mesmerizing in its beauty, but it also knows how to remind us who really rules this planet. Get ready to witness the most amazing moments of Mother Nature ever captured. If you ever witness a sandstorm of this magnitude, just remember two things. Position yourself in a place where the sand can't reach you and watch how the day turns into night in a matter of seconds. I've always known that storm warnings are never something to be ignored, but after watching this video, from now on I'll stay home. I recommend you do the same. It's crazy how a single magnitude 7.3 earthquake can turn a paradise island into a living nightmare with massive landslides. But don't worry, this one was uninhabited. It's always better to stay away from floods, but if you decide to watch one from as close as these people, at least make sure your car is running in case you need to get out of there quickly. In a hurricane, staying under a sturdy roof is crucial, but as you can see, a gas station is not the best option at all. There are tons of amazing volcano videos on the internet, but it seems like this guy recorded the one where Frodo finally destroys the One Ring. Turns out Mordor was in Reykjavik the whole time. Look at this storm. It's probably what those birds were flying away from. I bet if the guy with the camera could fly, he'd get out of there immediately. But don't worry, he's alright. This guy managed to capture a 1 in a million event. Enormous mud volcano caused by the release of monstrous amounts of methane gas. Luckily, no one was in the explosion area. If you live in a place where storms like this occur, you might want to carry a few heavy stones in your pockets just to prevent the wind from taking you away. Mountain roads can easily become your worst nightmare because landslides of this type can occur anywhere and there's nowhere to run. Each year, about 60 volcanoes erupt worldwide, so witnessing one in person is an incredibly rare experience. But don't forget, volcanic eruptions are just as dangerous as they are beautiful. So if you ever have the opportunity to witness one, it's best to admire it from a safe distance. Do you enjoy fresh air so much that you keep the windows open all the time? Well, if you ever visit Yokutia, you might want to abandon that habit. A frost of -60 degrees Celsius will do the same to your apartment in a matter of seconds. This concrete bridge was built to support a dozen people, but something tells me the weight limit should have been measured in floods and landslides. Forgetting your sunscreen in the hotel room isn't the worst thing that can happen to you at the beach. But don't cancel your vacation just yet. This downpour turned out to be harmless. Imagine you're walking through the forest and suddenly feel the ground beneath your feet turn into a trampoline. No, it's not the beginning of an earthquake, but rather a strange phenomenon that these people encounter. This mountain is so high above sea level that you can literally touch the clouds while hiking, and you might even get lost in them. So think twice before climbing them. It's difficult to imagine worse luck than planning a camping trip and arriving with this kind of weather. Fortunately, they still managed to set up everything in time. I wouldn't believe my eyes if I saw even a single comet like this one. And you're telling me that this is actually possible. This man has been searching for a genuine challenge to truly test his strength. However, nothing has been easier than opening a door on a windy day. In Iceland. When a massive flood unexpectedly strikes a city, grocery shopping takes on an entirely new appearance. You no longer even have to bend down to pick up items from the bottom shelf. Storm winds can reach speeds of up to 30 meters per second. If these figures don't mean much to you, take a look at this. It's almost enough to overturn a whole car. Many people have absolutely no idea how fast and unpredictable a flash flood can be. Just look at this dry riverbed and see what it turns into in just 30 seconds. Dozens of millimeters of rain per hour. And so, in just one day, These people went from having a house by the road to a property by the river. You might be wondering why someone would settle on the bank of a raging mountain river. But what if I told you there was no river here 15 minutes ago? Just a normal rural road? I'm sure these guys will agree that today's game has been the most memorable of their lives. Simply winning is not as fun as constantly fighting to hit the ball and prevent them from scoring in your own goal. These individuals stop in astonishment to record a gigantic landslide that abruptly blocked the entire mountain road. However, if you ever witness something like this, do not stop, run. No, this airplane did not have to perform an emergency. It happened that Dubai Airport looked like a giant lake after a crazy amount of rain. Here is why the doors in northern regions always open inward instead of outward. Only storm winds so powerful can turn rain into a wall of water so intense that it's frightening to even peek through a cracked window. Whoever designed this boardwalk clearly underestimated the power of the tide. Well, at least the plants next to these houses will never pass. They will be. Never trust your GPS blindly. Mother Nature can turn any road into a one-way ticket to nowhere. When a flood of this magnitude strikes a city, people don't even consider the idea of repairing their cars. They are simply grateful for having managed to reach safety. Initially, you glance out the window and are astonished to see the sky filled with birds. But then you come to realize that they are all escaping from something. And that's when things begin to become truly terrifying. In the mountains, you have to be prepared for anything, but sometimes only luck can save you from rock slides like this one. This mud waterfall is unique. It only appears when it rains a lot and disappears as soon as the storm passes. It's the only bridge that connects these two towns, so whether it's raining or sunny, people have no choice but to use it, even when it's underwater. It seems like the sky texture in this version of the Matrix is only loaded to 95%. But seriously, if you know what this is, leave a comment below. And this is what it feels like to confront a tsunami from the rooftop of a house by the sea. Thank God it wasn't too intense and no one was injured. Of course, this volcanic eruption looks impressive until you realize you have to flee from tons of falling ash. So it's better to admire this kind of beauty from a safe distance, like these people did. Do you still need proof of the destructive power of floods? Look at how the water erodes the ground beneath this railway, leaving the tracks hanging over the furious current. If you think rain in the desert is something weird, just look at a river, a real river that flows. Unbelievable, isn't it? Every child dreams of waking up to a winter paradise outside their window. Then they grow up and realize it just means being late for work. Being on a sand dune during a storm might seem like a great idea until the landscape starts to look like an expedition to Mars. This will make you feel the strong times, even after they have passed because of their delayed effects. Fortunately, nobody was injured. Well, today you are in luck. Seeing a giant iceberg flip over to Tsunamis' other side is an extremely rare event, because these icy giants can remain in place for decades. Do you see those enormous waves? Would you believe me if I told you it's not the ocean, not even the sea, but rather a river? The Gyeongton River in Hansu has a lot of character. For this tourist, taking a walk near a supposedly dormant volcano transformed into the most epic experience of his entire life. Fortunately, he didn't get any closer. A tornado passing directly in front of your apartment window. It's essentially a ready-made horror movie scene. Do you see those concrete things on the shore? They are called tetrapods. built to break the force of incoming waves and prevent flooding. But sometimes, even they are not enough. These highway barriers are supposed to protect cars from falling rocks, but they definitely weren't constructed for rocks of this magnitude. How have they managed to remain standing? Imagine the shock of the US residents when 10 minutes of light rain suddenly transformed into a devastating hurricane. But honestly, I don't know what's worse, seeing a tornado up close or seeing it through a window like the guy in the apartment. Sometimes, not seeing the full magnitude of what's coming is better for your anxiety. This incredible natural phenomenon seems like an endless chain reaction of lightning, and it scares me to even imagine what happens at its epicenter. No matter what Mother Nature throws at you, react like this guy and you'll never be caught off guard. Fantastic. Here you have a new fear to consider. Unfortunately, when the ground moves, it's not always due to a landslide. Sometimes it's because the ground is literally made of snakes. When the water level in a dam rises, make sure to stay out of the water. If this whirlpool spillway starts working, your bath won't be as fun as you think. The power of Mother Nature is terrifyingly limitless. In a single day, it created a 2 kilometers long crack in the Arctic ice. Look at how apocalyptic the sky over this city looks after a wildfire spread over 38 kilometers squared in just 7 hours. Imagine you step outside on a rainy day. You see a tornado forming and realize this day can't get any worse. But then, 1 minute later, you realize you jumped to conclusions. At first, you think the windows are fogged up. Then you realize that 3 meters of snow fell overnight. A landslide can go from 1 centimeter per day to 1 meter per second in an instant. If you think only the ground is moving, run for your life. This video from Antalya, Turkey, demonstrates how much hail can fall in just half an hour. Fortunately, it wasn't large enough to cause any serious damage. Let this video serve as a warning to you. If the wind suddenly picks up, seek shelter as soon as possible. When they say the ocean is unpredictable, I don't think a foam party all over the beach is what they had in mind. It doesn't take a tsunami to flood half a city. The 5 meters waves from a storm are enough. In Dubai, it rains about 5 days a year, and as you can see, their metro system wasn't built to handle the recent downpour. Does it seem strange to you to see 2 tornadoes at once? What do you think of a slash tube? If you have an explanation, leave it in the comments. We would love to know. It cannot be denied that sandstorms are among the most awe-inspiring and simultaneously terrifying natural phenomena you can witness near a desert. And these images are the undeniable proof. If you ever find yourself caught in a storm like this, do not panic. Seek shelter and pray that it holds. Just months ago, Thailand faced its most powerful flood, forcing hundreds of thousands to leave their homes in days. Often, one catastrophe triggers another. In Vietnam, the excessive rains nearly wiped out the village of Gyeongsos by causing the uncontrolled rise of the local river. Look, this guy basically summoned his own tornado. Fortunately, he's new to magic, and this could have ended up much worse. There's absolutely nothing to see here, just a completely normal spot. Is the sun shining, the snow glistening, and you have to choose between a swimsuit or a sled. Oh, sorry. Whose cloud is this? It seems to be dripping a little. This guy is probably wow. I wonder what's going on there. Meanwhile, he has absolutely no idea that he is filming one of the most incredible meteorological phenomena, an intracloud lightning. And it seems that these people got caught in that very same phenomenon. I have no other explanation for the color of that sky. Any ideas? Drop them in the comments section. When a tornado forms, there's only one good thing about it. It's not heading towards you. But hey, at least you managed to get some epic footage of 3 tornadoes while you were running to a bunker. Wait a minute. Shouldn't the sewers be collecting the water, not spitting it out? Look at this. It's literally levitating. Don't bother bringing an umbrella during a downpour in Sydney. Trust me, it will only make things worse. I'm sure you've seen mud geysers and gas geysers, but I bet this is the first time you've seen a sewer geyser. You think an earthquake is the only thing that can cause so much damage? Think again. Look at this house. Remember now what water is capable of. On this day, the meteorologists weren't exaggerating when they said stay at home, because this storm front is about to bring chaos of apocalyptic proportions. Due to a sudden and unexpected flood, the streets of Valencia, Italy, transformed into raging rivers with enough force to sweep away cars. Fortunately, their owners abandoned them just in time. Not all hot springs or places meant for relax. If you ever visit Bolivia, you might want to stay back, because its temperature could reach 100 degrees Celsius. Evolution says that our aquatic ancestors took billions of years to make the transition to land. Meanwhile, these fish seem to achieve it in 1 minute. This earthquake caught the camera in a relatively safe place, which gave it the opportunity to show us how buildings undergo the ultimate stress test. It seems that the owner of this house should have chosen a more suitable door for the climate of their country. Imagine how intense a flood must be to submerge the streets up to people's heads. Take a look at one of the first volcanic eruptions of 2025 that shook Hawaii in January, scaring hundreds of locals, but fortunately causing no casualties. This is Lake Bogolia in Kenya, which is famous for being literally boiling throughout the entire year. If you camp in a tent, there's a real enemy out there. And no, it's not that friend who still doesn't know how to set it up. Oh look, this is one of those rare moments when you don't even need a weather app to tell you there's a 99.9% chance of rain today. If I were these people, I would pray that their birds were just migrating south. Otherwise, what you're seeing here is a very bad omen that usually precedes a major catastrophe. Let's be realistic. Rain leaking through the roof of a shopping mall is not a great sign. The collapse was just a matter of time, but fortunately, no one was injured. This earthquake in El Salvador was accidentally captured by a surveillance camera, allowing us to clearly see the intensity of the tremors and how quickly they subsided. Oh, what irony. This guy was literally warning his subscribers to be prepared for absolutely anything at sea, because the waves can be extremely unpredictable. The largest corporations spend millions and millions drilling for oil all around the world. Meanwhile, some guy on the side of a road in China just made someone rich in a second. It terrified, witnessing how a flood sweeps away entire buildings by causing landslides along the shore. Fortunately, no one was injured. This bridge has withstood the test of time for decades, but it had never faced a stress test quite like this one. And it's clear it wasn't constructed for such a challenge. That's precisely why a landslide is considered the worst nightmare for an excavator. The vehicle was completely buried, but luckily there was no one inside. You know an eruption is unreal when your first thought is this is generated by AI, but it's not 100% real. If you've ever seen the water look like this on the coast, you should know that here the waves are so strong they lift enough sand to completely change the color of the water. Now you know exactly what happens when you go outside with wet hair at minus 37 degrees Celsius. It holds better than any gel, but seriously, don't try it. You continue to complain about the roads in your city. Look at what happens to the roads of Central Java, Indonesia, after their annual landslides. Be very careful with this weather, because strong winds can carry a chair from someone else's balcony directly to yours. I wish I could say it's just an interior design choice, but no. This is what an earthquake can do to your house. And believe me, this is one of the best outcomes. In the worst case scenario, Mother Nature will leave nothing behind except for a pile of rubble. But don't worry, no one was inside when this happened. The same thing happened with this house. However, it wasn't an earthquake, it was a landslide. Yet the result was the same. Those bright pillars in the sky appear as if they are taken straight out of science fiction. A truly impressive meteorological phenomenon. You've already seen a river in the desert, but now it's time for a flood. What's happening in these deserts? Until today, I had never understood why some people are even afraid to approach the mountains. But now I think I understand. Unfortunately, this delivery driver had no choice but to drive through the flooded streets to complete his delivery. The good news: someone was there to help. After a sunset like this one in San Jose, I bet the demand for sleeping pills and anxiolytics skyrockets. A restaurant by the sea. They said it's romantic. You probably know the strangest sky you have ever seen. Some people say it predicts cold weather. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. How long do you think it takes for a calm mountain stream to turn into this? A day? Maybe a day and a half? No, just 5 inches. This flood completely paralyzed the city, leaving only a single lane available for emergency evacuation. Fortunately, it was sufficient to get everyone to safety. That's all for today. Tell us about the craziest weather you've experienced in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.